پارلمان اروپا استراسبورگ اجلاس رسمی 18 دسامبر 2019 27 آذر 1398 سخنرانیهای نمایندگان پارلمان اروپا درباره قطعنامه محکومیت حکومت آخوندی به خاطر سرکوب و کشتار وحشیانه قیام مردم ایران. آنا فوتیگا، وزیر خارجه سابق لهستان: شمار کشته‌ها شوکه کننده است. اتحادیه اروپا باید از سازمان ملل متحد بخواهد که به طور مستقل سرکوب اعتراضات را مورد تحقیق قرار دهد.
Even the lowest, most cautious number of victims of the recent crackdown in Iran means enormous death toll, shocking death toll. Thousands are kept behind bars. Thousands have been injured. Situation we have to raise our voice, and I'm very grateful to European Parliament that over political divisions we are able to prepare a joint resolution condemning the regime for killings, asking the UN to independently investigate the issue, requiring from the regime to publish reliable numbers of victims, releasing bodies to families of victims, and putting an end to continuous impunity of those responsible for the crackdown and the violence against society in Iran.
آنا فوتیگا، وزیر خارجه سابق لهستان، در روز دوشنبه 25 آذر 16 دسامبر در اجلاس پارلمان اروپا پیشنهاد قطعنامه این پارلمان در محکومیت دیکتاتوری آخوندی و حمایت از قیام مردم ایران را ارائه کرد که با موافقت پارلمان به تصویب رسید. توجه شما را به گزارشی در این باره جلب می‌کنیم. اجلاس رسمی پارلمان اروپا استراسبورگ 16 آذر 2019. آنا فوتیگا، وزیر خارجه سابق لهستان: در سرکوب اخیر ایران 1500 نفر کشته شدند. معترضان عضو مقاومت با سخت کوشی تلاش کردند اسامی کسانی را که در تظاهرات و اعتراضات ناپدید شدند به بیرون برسانند. تصویب صدور بیانیه درباره قیام مردم ایران از سوی پارلمان اروپا به درخواست آنا فوتیگا.
We now move on to Wednesday. The ECR group has asked for a statement of the High Representative on violent repression, the violent crackdown on recent protests in Iran, and that this should be added in the afternoon of Wednesday as the fifth item, and that there should be a resolution appended to wind up the debate. I'll give the floor to Ms. Anna Fotyga, who will move the request of the ECR group. Ms. Fotyga.
Unfortunately, we already know that around 1,500 people have been killed in Iran during recent crackdown. Despite difficulties, members of opposition protesters, including minors, try to meticulously put names of those who perished during manifestations and protests. our voice raised timely to defend protesting Iranians is a matter of life or death for many imprisoned and still suffering insecurity. I kindly ask you to give your consent to this item.
تریان باسسکو رئیس جمهور سابق رومانی: طبق اعلام شورای ملی مقاومت ایران، رژیم ایران 1500 نفر را به قتل رسانده است. اتحادیه اروپا وظیفه دارد دست به اعتراض و اقدام بزند.
The European Union wants at all price to get a nuclear agreement, and because of that, the regime in Tehran has unleashed its might on its own people. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini has turned to brutal oppression of demonstrators and protesters across the country. According to the National Council of Resistance in Iran, the Iranian regime has repressed the movement for freedom with unprecedented violence. Almost 1,500 people have died, more than 4,000. And now the Iranian regime is imprisoning protesters, particularly at local level. The European Union has an obligation to protest and to take action. And we must also recognise that the European Union, in its dealings with Iran, has made itself hostage to the JCPOA, the nuclear agreement. That is the fact of the matter, and that is also the reason why we pretend not to notice that in their desire to become a regional power, they are doing these things.
رودریگز راموس، عضو کمیسیون حقوق زنان و برابری: ما شاهد صحنه‌هایی هستیم که نیروهای امنیتی از هلیکوپتر به سوی مردم شلیک می‌کنند.
People who don't have access to internet, I know you referred to that already, and there's a blockade, in other words, but nevertheless we are receiving images of incredible cruelty. We've seen security forces who are shooting from helicopters, snipers, shooting innocent civilians, families who can't actually bury their family members, their children. 2 weeks ago we discovered a great number of corpses in various lakes and rivers around the country. So I think it's important to call out this brutal repression. We would like to add our voice to the voice of the High Commissioner for Human Rights of the United Nations. We need to make sure that the United Nations is able to do something in order to, first of all, identify those who are responsible for these actions and call for them to be held liable. There cannot be impunity for these torturers.
میلان زور، نماینده پارلمان اروپا از اسلوونی: اول از همه اتحادیه اروپا باید از جنبش اپوزیسیون که برای آزادی و دموکراسی در ایران می‌جنگد حمایت کند. رژیم ایران علاوه بر این که به مردم ایران رحم نمی‌کند، تهدیدی برای کل منطقه است.
Mr. Zver, 1 minute.
First and foremost, we should support in the European Union the opposition movement fighting for the freedom and democracy in Iran. Then we should also redefine our relations with Iran, and we should not look the other way. We should also introduce new sanctions. And there are other additional measures that we should adopt against the Iranian regime. It's not only brutal against its own citizens, but is also a threat for the entire region. It's becoming a factor of instability. So it would be worthwhile to organize a fact-finding mission to Iran. Thank you very much.
لویزا پوریت، نایب رئیس گروه لیبرال دموکرات ها از انگلستان: اتحادیه اروپا باید اکنون عمل کند. از جوزف بورل می خواهم که از شورای حقوق بشر سازمان ملل درخواست کند تحقیقاتی در مورد سرکوب در ایران انجام دهد.
Last month saw the biggest protest since the 1979 revolution break out in response to a 50% increase in fuel prices. The protesters in Iran had a legitimate reason to be protesting, yet the Iranian authorities responded disproportionately and inflicted harm on them. It is the duty of governments to protect their own people. These actions are a far cry from that. Furthermore, the nationwide shutdown of online communications by the government has made it difficult for Iranians to tell their stories. This is an infringement of their free speech. The EU must act now. Calls upon you as the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy to continue to raise our concerns about the human rights situation in Iran and ask that the UN Human Rights Council conduct an investigation.
لوکاس ماندل از اتریش: ما باید کاملا روشن کنیم که برای این رژیم اعتباری قائل نیستیم.
Sehr geehrter Herr Vorsitzender, sehr geehrter Herr.
When we say that protests are being put down in violence, we must not have the wrong images in front of our eyes. We're not talking about a bloody nose or a broken bone, which is bad enough, but we're talking about more than 1,000 dead at the hands of the regime. In mid-November, just a few weeks ago, that was what was happening, and that's just before the start of the 2020s. What must we do? We must make it abundantly clear that we do not attach credibility to the regime, and we have got to prevent the Iranians from getting weapons of mass destruction because of the security risk for the entire world. And High Representative, Vice President of the Commission, push on with the diplomatic sanctions which you flagged up in your comments. We owe this to ordinary people because we must stand and help them back to democracy and freedom. Thank you very much.
ایزابل سانتوس، رئیس کمیسیون رابطه با کشورهای مشرق: لازم است از تمامی ابزارهای ممکن در برابر رژیم ایران استفاده کنیم.
Less than a month on, Parliament comes back to discussing the serious problem in Iran. The Iranian government not only ignored the appeals for containment, but it violently put down the protests that broke out across the whole of the country because of the very serious economic and social situation. Arbitrary arrests, inhuman treatment of people being detained, punching, kicking, flogging, and calls for the death penalty for the leaders of the protest. These are facts that have recently become public and which we cannot ignore. The respect of human rights is the fundamental part of the dialogue between the European Union and Iran. High Representative, we need to use all means possible vis-à-vis the Iranian authorities so they will assume their responsibilities and comply with the international conventions they have signed up to. Thank you.
کلمن گروشل، عضو کمیته خارجی از اسلوونی: اتحادیه اروپا باید بدون توجه به منافع سیاسی و اقتصادی خود قویاً رژیم ایران را محکوم کند.
The European Union should, irrespective of its political and economic interests, strongly condemn the Tehran regime's actions. We should send Tehran a very clear message that despite our geopolitical interests, it shall not derogate from the fundamental values and expects our interlocutors to do the same. The brutality of the Iranian regime also points out to its instability and the sense of being threatened, and the theoretic regime should be aware that using the brute force at home and creating regional hegemony will not secure its survival.
ایزابل بنخومه، معاون کمیته توسعه منطقه‌ای: ما به مردم و جوانان ایران میگوییم که تنها نیستند.
گوتلند، نماینده پارلمان اروپا از سوئد: نیروهای امنیتی به سوی تظاهر کنندگان شلیک کردند و در این واقعه هولناک بسیاری از مردم کشته شدند.
We call for the immediate release of those arbitrarily detained. It is truly horrifying to hear about the security forces firing on protesters and the many people who have been killed during this unrest. The internet shutdown in Iran made it difficult for outside groups to document the death toll and for the journalists to paint the full picture of what was happening on the ground in dozens of cities. It is unacceptable that people who protest because of social and economic injustices are killed and injured. We Social Democrats condemn the actions of the regime and demand that the violence stop immediately. The people of Iran need the EU on their side. This is why I'm happy to stand by this resolution where we demand to stop the violence and call for the EU to continue raising human rights and concerns with the Iranian authorities in bilateral and multilateral exchange. Thank you.
پوست پیشل عضو چک: نباید طرف معامله حکومتی باشیم که به سوی تظاهر کنندگان شلیک می کند.
It is clear for all of us that this cannot be our partner to countries that are based on democratic values. The regime that is shooting its own people, its protesters, well, we have to condemn all of them very clearly, very radically. Let us adopt a more radical approach to this country as opposed to your predecessor. We cannot have any correct and good relations with Iran if they are doing this. They are shooting their own people who are just protesting against corruption, against rising prices. Well, this is unacceptable.
یوگن توماک از رومانی: اتحادیه اروپا دیگر نمیتواند فقط محتاط باشد، بلکه باید در اقدامی قاطع آنچه را که در ایران میگذرد محکوم کند.
I would
like to speak to the High Commissioner in my capacity as a member of the Subcommittee for Human Rights in the European Parliament. Young people have died, students, teachers have died. These were all Iranian citizens that had no way to express their disgruntlement but through protest. The European Union and our diplomacy can no longer be just cautious. We need firm, decisive action condemning what is happening in Iran right now. For the sake of the nuclear agreement, we can no longer tolerate what is going on there. Iran is a place of instability that can destabilize the whole region.
لوپس آگیولار، رئیس کمیسیون قضایی و آزادی‌های مدنی: وضعیت در ایران به واقع تکان دهنده است. ما خون مردم را دیده ایم که جاری شده و اتحادیه اروپا بایستی به این موضوع مشخص توجه کند.
The situation is really hair-raising. There's tension, there's arbitrary detention of individuals, there's torture, impunity, there are people that are being executed, capital punishment, repression, the right to demonstrate, to congregate is forbidden. We've seen blood flow, and the European Union has to look at this particular issue.
جوزپ بورل، مسئول سیاست خارجی اتحادیه اروپا: شما ویدیویی از تیراندازی تک تیراندازان به معترضین را دیده اید و شاهد تایید رسمی دست کم 7,000 نفر دستگیری بوده اید. این وضعیت بیانگر جدیت و ابعاد اتفاقی است که رخ داده است.
1 month ago, we have been trying to obtain reliable, verified information on the number of deaths, injuries and arrests. As I am sure you have, video of snipers shooting at protesters and seen official confirmation of at least 7,000 people arrested. This underlines the severity and the magnitude of what is occurring, what has occurred, what is still happening. We have urged the Iranian authorities to ensure transparent and credible investigations to clarify the number of deaths and arrested, and we expect all perpetrators of violence to be accountable. Mr. President, I am aware that this crackdown also extended to access to the internet and that Iranian citizens were prevented from accessing to global networks, which severely impacted communication and the free flow of information. Mr. President, honourable members, I fully understand the severity of the situation with regard to the protest, and we will continue to address this response and urge concrete actions as part of our diplomacy with Iran, which is not limited to the nuclear problems deal. We firmly believe that the Iranian authorities must live up to their international obligations, including both the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Rights such as freedom of expression and assembly must always be respected.
واکنش مایوسانه حکومت آخوندی از تصویب قطعنامه در پارلمان اروپا. سخنگوی وزارت خارجه رژیم: قطعنامه جانبدارانه و ناامید کننده است. نمایندگان جدید پارلمان اروپا با تحولات جاری در ایران ناآشنا هستند. سخنگوی وزارت خارجه رژیم در واکنش به تصویب قطعنامه در پارلمان اروپا در حمایت از قیام مردم ایران و محکوم کردن کشتار وحشیانه معترضان با نگرانی و یأس گفت که قطعنامه جانبدارانه، یکسویه، غیر واقع بینانه و ناامید کننده است. وی به طور مسخره‌ای ادعا کرد صدور این قطعنامه بیانگر ناآشنایی نمایندگان جدید پارلمان اروپا با تحولات جاری در ایران است که صرفاً بر پایه استفاده از اطلاعات نادرست و برخی جفسازی‌های رسانه‌ای هدفمند جمهوری اسلامی را متهم کرده است.